Now, going with the light theme, next on our list is the Priest. The Priest is a very, very powerful class, with the abilities to heal and do damage. The races that they have available to them are all of the races on the Alliance side. That includes Draenei, Gnomes, Night Elves, Dwarves, Humans, Worgen, and even the Pandaren. Gnomes being introduced in Cataclysm, as well as Worgen, and Draenei being introduced in Burning Crusade, and Pandaren being introduced in Mists of Pandaria. The only race in the entire game that cannot be a priest is an orc, which does make sense. They have literally no one in their society that uses the light, or ever has, or probably ever will. Let's get right down into the explanation or description of a priest right off of the Battle.net web. It is as follows. Priests are devoted to the spiritual and express their unwavering faith by serving the people. For millennia, they have left behind the confines of their temples and the comfort of their shrines so they can support their allies in war-torn lands. In the midst of terrible conflict, no hero questions the value of the priestly order. These masters of the healing arts keep their companions fighting far beyond their normal capacities with an array of restorative powers and blessings. The divine forces at the priest's command can also be turned against foes, smiting them with holy fury. As light cannot exist without darkness, and darkness without light, some priests tap into shadow to better understand their own abilities, as well as the abilities of those who threaten them. So moving on to the races that can be priest, first let's cover the Alliance. Now, as we've talked about with Paladins, Draenei can be priest much due to the same reasons. They have been long-time worshippers and followers of the Naru, who are beings of light. They have followed the light for many, many years while under the guidance of Velen. Dwarves have practiced the light since joining the Alliance. Humans have practiced the light since the teaching of Tyr. Worgen are humans, so they were also around at the time of Tyr, when he taught the very, very early humans after they had evolved from cruel things. The Worgen have always practiced the light, and they've kept the light close to them, the Gilneans, I should say. And of course, once becoming a wolf, they can still practice using the light. Gnomes, it is considered that since the gnomes have been in the Alliance for such a long time and have seen the dwarfs, they have also been taught the ways of the light. There is no real lore explanation for gnomes being priests. None that has been rooted and maybe retconned during Cataclysm, but that is about it. Let's just chalk it up to they've been in the Alliance long enough to watch the humans, dwarfs, Draenei, literally everybody else in the Alliance, that they started practicing the light as well. Night Elves have had priestesses of Elune for the longest time, and only recently, after the events of the Third War, after their numbers were devastated at the Battle of Mount Hyjal, that Night Elves started allowing men to practice the holy light as well, whereas the men in Night Elven society were usually only druids, and the women were usually only sentinels or priestesses of Elune. They have kind of crossed the gender gap. Good for them. Good for them. If only we could do the same. They don't practice the light in the same way as the other Alliance races. They actually practice the light of the moon, with perhaps the most noticeable priestess being Tyrande. As for the Horde races, we can quickly talk about the Horde races. The only ones that are a little odd is possibly the undead, since light is known to hurt undead creatures and demonic creatures. However, it is also said that because some undead can still be good and just want the survival of themselves, they can still be good, and that they aren't necessarily evil, that they can still cling on to the light that they possibly may have used before they died, that the light still answers their call. So that is how undead can be priest, is since they're just undead humans, which is very odd that they can't be undead dwarfs or anything else, but whatever, moving on. Undead can be priest, however, they tend to find themselves more tied to the shadow. Blood Elves, of course, use the light in the same way that they did when they became Paladins. Tauren, same way. As Sunwalkers, they worship the light of the sun, not the light, the religion. Goblins, who knows, man? Maybe they just are really greedy creatures and they just want to use whatever possible means they can to destroy their enemies and get that monies. Trolls worship the Lao. They're ancient gods and voodoo, so it is very obvious that they would also practice the light, though again not in the same way as the religious light. Pandaren. How can Pandaren be a priest? Well, they are an ancient race, perhaps as ancient as the Night Elves, as said in the mage part, so it is possible that the Pandaren started worshipping the light as well, though again, not the way that the humans do. It is not a religion for the Pandaren, it's more just an overwhelming goodness that the pandas actually have in this calm and serenity in themselves, that they're able to, their inside is just so pure and balanced that they are able to use that balance to create both light and dark. They are very, very, very much in tune with the balance of the world. That's all there is for the priest. However, I will say the good race to be priests from a lore perspective on the Alliance side would be the Draenei, the humans, and the Night Elves. On the Horde side, the good races to practice being priests would be Undead, Tauren, and possibly Troll, maybe Blood Elf.